In today's video, I'm going to be discussing Medicaid, not to be mistaken with Medicare, and answering a question I've seen showing up down below in the comment section a number of times here over the last couple weeks, which is Medicaid actually ending for the low income? That's a really good question and exactly what I want to clarify for you here in this video, because the answer is kind of yes and kind of no. But again, I'll clarify all the details and what you need to know here in the video, as that is the focus. Let's get into it and talk through all the details. Now again, really quickly, I want to clarify, I'm only talking about Medicaid. I am not talking about Medicare here in this video. These two programs are very similar, but at the same time, they're also very, very different. In fact, across the entire country right now, there's about 150 million people enrolled in these two programs collectively. That's a ton of our population, nearly 50% of the population here in the United States, 150 million people. In fact, about 66 million people enrolled in Medicare and about 80 to 85 million people enrolled in Medicaid. It's a ton of people that we're talking about here, okay? So again, when it comes down to it, answering those questions, is Medicaid really ending? Well, it depends. For some people, yes, unfortunately, it really is. For other people, no, it is not, but there's a lot of hoops here and a lot of hurdles that we need to go over in order to make sure that you're still enrolled in Medicaid. Now, there's, again, about 80 to 85 million people enrolled in Medicaid, and realistically, there are tens of millions of people losing Medicaid coverages, and exactly what I want to talk about here in this video, because this is a major, major problem going on right now, and we don't want to lose any of these coverages, right? Because that'd be a really, really bad situation for a lot of people, and that's exactly what most people are experiencing right now, and why I want to talk about it. I've been seeing this out there in the headlines a lot. I've seen some of you here in the community asking down below in the comment section, and again, I want to do whatever I possibly can to help you out through this and talk through the details about it. So that's a focus, and again, we're going to talk about it right now. However, really, really fast before we do, if you have not done so yet, make sure to do yourself a huge favor. Subscribe down below the video. There's a huge subscribe button down there. Make sure to hit that, and also feel free to hit the like button as long as you're down there, the thumbs up button if you'd like to. Totally optional. You don't need to. Again, just a huge thank you to you and everybody here watching the videos. I truly do appreciate your support. I want to do whatever I possibly can for you, advocate on your behalf, do all the research, and again, just be here for you. We need to stick together during this time right now. It's a rough time out there. I think we probably all agree, right? That's probably a little bit of an understatement, but you know what I mean here, okay? So anyway, thanks for being here. Truly appreciate your support. Subscribe, hit the like button, and let's talk through the details. All right, so it all comes down to some changes that came in a few years ago, actually over 4 years ago, some changes came in, and then the changes actually abruptly ended about a year ago as well, okay? So that's, again, what I want to break down for you. Now, let's take a little stroll back about 4+ years ago, okay? Back to January of 2020. What happened? Something was implemented called the Public Health Emergency Declaration. Okay, this was basically a declaration that was put in place, and it allowed all kinds of different privileges to go on, because we all know what was going on during that time, right? Well, as a result of that, this went on for 3 years. In other words, this Public Health Emergency Declaration basically said you can enroll. When I say you, I mean states. States could enroll people in Medicaid, but they could not disenroll people from Medicaid during that time. So for about a 3-year period of time, the states could take on new enrollees or new applicants to Medicaid, but could not disenroll these people, could not take them off the Medicaid rolls until April of last year, 2023, okay? That is when they expired the Public Health Emergency Declaration. They ended it, okay? So it went on for about 3 years and then abruptly ended about a year ago, okay? So this is where all things started to take place, okay? So at the peak there, right before the Public Health Emergency Declaration ended, there were about 93 million, give or take a little bit, about 93 million people enrolled in Medicaid. It's a ton of people, right? It's a lot. It's nearly a third of our population. It's a lot of people that are enrolled in Medicaid, okay? So anyway, all these people were enrolled in Medicaid. Well, now they pull out the stops and they say, okay, let's open up the floodgates here, and let's allow states to start disenrolling people from Medicaid, okay? You've heard me talk about this before, maybe before in other videos. I've talked about it a couple times over the last year or so. And now, it's called Medicaid unwinding. Now, that's just kind of the generic name that this has been given, but basically, it's the disenrollment of Medicaid for millions upon millions of people. In fact, as of right now, give or take, about 15, 16 or so million people have been disenrolled from Medicaid. That's just kind of a rough number as of right now. And again, it's expected to be about 23 to 24 million people. So when I said it before at the beginning of the video, is Medicaid ending? Well, it depends. Like I said, it's kind of a difficult question because for some people, yes, it is ending. For other people, no, it's not ending, right? So that's why I said earlier, it's kind of confusing. The answer is yes and no. But anyway, here's what it comes down to. Because of this Medicaid unwinding, what they're doing is basically the states are going through the Medicaid rolls and they are disenrolling people from Medicaid who they think, hey, you may not be eligible. Now, here's the major problem with this. Basically, what they're allowing or what they're doing is the states are going through and basically having everybody reapply for Medicaid, okay? And then when the applications come in or they don't come in from those people who may not be eligible, they say, hey, sorry, you're out of here and you can't get benefits, okay? So this is the major problem. However, as I continue to look into this and do more and more research on this, here's the problem with the situation. About 70% of people that are being disenrolled from Medicaid are actually eligible for Medicaid services. But the problem is the people that are being disenrolled, again, 70%, are being disenrolled because of administrative errors. Now, let me explain really quickly. So a lot of times, in order to be eligible for Medicaid, they're basically sending out some kind of paperwork, right? So they're either sending out paperwork physically through the mail or it's an electronic application, something like this. And what's happening is the people that are filling out the paperwork are not filling it out in their entirety or in its entirety or not submitting back all of the paperwork. So in other words, that is basically putting the person on grounds for immediate disenrollment from Medicaid. See what I'm saying here? Okay. So let's just say this much. How many times have you received paperwork or something like this where it asks some kind of ambiguous question? You're like, I don't even know how to answer that question. I'm going to be honest with you. Happens to me all the time. Okay. When you fill out paperwork, it's like, I don't even know what this question is asking. I literally don't even know what to put in this blank here, right? It's worded so weirdly sometimes. It's like, I don't know. I have no clue what to write here in this answer. You know what I mean? In this blank. I'm not even sure. So you leave it blank sometimes. Well, this is the problem. When this is happening, then it's basically just disenrolled, okay? So that is the problem. Or let's just say that they send out the application or whatever, and let's just say it's, I don't know, 3 pieces of paper, okay? I'm just giving an example here, okay? It could be 2, it could be 5, whatever. Let's just say it's 3, okay? Well, when they send the application back, maybe they're omitting one of the pages. So they send back 2 pages when really it's supposed to be 3, okay? And this would obviously make somebody disenrolled from Medicaid or basically not being able to enroll back in Medicaid. So this is the problem when it comes down to it. So the big question is Medicaid ending? The answer is no. Medicaid as a program as a whole is not ending. However, is Medicaid ending for some people? Yes. In fact, is Medicaid ending for about 15, 16 million people right now? Yep, already has ended. Is Medicaid going to be ending for about another, I don't know, 8 to 10 million people? Yes, unfortunately, it will be. Why? Because of this process that they're going through. States are going through this disenrollment process, the purging process, or the Medicaid unwinding, as you may hear it be talked about, and this is what they're referring to, okay? So yes, Medicaid, unfortunately, is ending for some people, okay? So the best thing we can do going forward is, if you're somebody who's low income, and historically for the last several years, it could be the last 5, 7, 10 years or something like this, if you've been enrolled in Medicaid, now obviously I don't know your exact situation, but you're probably still going to be eligible for Medicaid, okay? Obviously I can't say for sure. I don't know everybody's situation. It's going to be different for everybody, but you get my point here, okay? If you just enrolled in Medicaid in the last 3 years or so, and you have a nice solid income, and you wouldn't consider yourself necessarily low income, well then, these are the people that may need to be worried about losing Medicaid. But if you're somebody on, say, SSI, Supplemental Security Income, or you're very low income, something like this, do you need to be worried about this? Obviously, I don't know your situation, but I would say this much. Probably not all that much, okay? But I would say this much as well. If you receive any type of communication, whether it's through mail or electronic or something like that, you probably want to respond to it relatively quickly. And if you have any problems with this process, or you feel that you've been disenrolled for some reason outside of your control or anything like that, and you still feel that you're very much enrolled, or you're still very much eligible for this, I would call your local office immediately and say, hey, yo, you need to look at my application here. I've been receiving Medicaid for 7 years or 10 years or whatever. You probably want to look into that. So there's a lot of people, like I said, a huge percentage of people that are being disenrolled for really no reason. They should still be eligible for Medicaid, and that's exactly what I want to bring to your attention. So for those of you that have been asking, is Medicaid ending? The simple answer is no. The program as a whole is not ending, But yes, a lot of people are losing Medicaid coverages because of the reasons that I've talked about here in this video. Is that going to make sense? I know, it's clear as mud, as they say, right? I know, it's confusing, but I hope this kind of helps to better understand the situation. I know, it's confusing, it's a rough situation, but this is what's happening, and millions of people are being disenrolled, and it's a rough situation. So, again, please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Totally free to do so. Go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos on the channel, including the thousands of video library, or those that I've hand selected for you down below in the description or at the top of the comment section, or the ones that you see on your screen now. Check out those videos as well. Thanks for joining me. Truly do appreciate it. Have a good one, and I'll catch you again later in